Mr. Abrego Garcia has filed a new lawsuit in the Federal District Court for the District of Maryland, challenging his current confinement and challenging deportation to Uganda or to any other country unless and until he's had a fair trial as in an immigration court, as well as his full appeal rights.
And just a short time ago, a United States District Court Judge, Paula Zines, temporarily blocked the United States from deporting Abrego Garcia. The judge has ordered a hearing on Abrego Garcia's suit challenging his deportation. It's unclear how long this temporary block will last. Former Governor of South Dakota, now Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, joins me. Nice to see you, Madam Secretary.
Yes, great to be with you, Greta. Thank you for inviting me.
For starters, he's not here legally in this country. Is that right? I mean, that's where this sort of starts.
That's correct. And he is off the streets. Thanks for all the work that President Trump has done and the people he's put in place who enforce our laws. This man is a suspected terrorist, known to affiliate and be friends with MS-13 members, spend time with them, has been arrested before and suspected of human trafficking, extremely dangerous individual, a known wife beater. This is someone that should never be free in the United States of America, and bringing him to justice is incredibly important to the safety of the American people.
So why is he still here?
You know, I would say because the liberals and the left and elected Democrats and activist judges have gone to the mat defending this terrorist, an individual who was out there partnering with other criminals to break the law and to create criminal activities against vulnerable Americans. They have stood with him and fought for him just to oppose President Trump. I am just shocked every single day by the amount of individuals that are extreme extreme liberals who are opposed to President Trump that just stand with him because of their opposition to this administration. So I'm hoping that we can continue to keep him detained, that he will be brought to justice for his crimes, and that continuing the American people will recognize how President Trump fights for their safety each and every day.
It seems to me that he's now detained, right? He's been detained by ICE, and his lawyer says that they want a trial. They got a temporary pause on this in the sense that you can't deport him from the United States today. He's getting an immigration trial. But he is going to be locked up until he gets this immigration trial. Is that is that your expectation?
He's off the streets today, Greta, which means the American people are safe. But we are really hoping that he will continue to face penalties for what he has done, and the dangerous individual like he is will never be allowed to roam free here in the United States of America. And remember, he's not a U.S. citizen. He was never here legally to begin with, and he shouldn't be. And we will continue to use every single enforcement action that we have available to us to make sure that he's held accountable to that.
Well, he had a plea offer in Tennessee, and as a former criminal defense attorney, as I look at it, I think, he might have been wise to take that, because he did get caught when he did get arrested with people in his car in that whole human smuggling charge, and so he'd have to do some time from then. I mean, he's still got to answer to that at some point, I suspect. And so, he would have, do some time, and then he would be deported to Costa Rica. Now he risks deportation to Uganda, and apparently his lawyer doesn't think he should go to Uganda, so it's gotten a little complicated.
Yeah, that was an option that he had available to him, was that he could go to Costa Rica if he pled guilty to that human smuggling crime. He chose not to do that, which means that he will continue to face consequences and criminal prosecution potentially, and deportation. Uganda is one of those countries that the United States has a third country agreement with. We have those with several other countries as well. But that is the one that we have named as a potential place for him to end up someday. And we'll continue to use every piece of tool in the toolbox that we have to continue to make sure that he isn't here in this country endangering individuals who are citizens of the United States.
Well, what's sort of peculiar in this is that that he was released from Tennessee, where he is facing a very serious charge. And the issue when you're facing a serious charge is whether you're likely to return to court. I suppose the fact that he has some family here and that he did show up to Morton today helped him. But these are very serious charges with a strong motive to flee. You know, he's got that. So I don't. I mean, do you know anything about why he was released from Tennessee so that you got into the situation today?
Well, he showed up for his hearing today, and I believe that's because he believes he has activist lawyers who might find a favorable decision that he can continue to fight the legal process. But we will continue to use everything that we have to make sure that not only are we using the immigration proceedings to remove him to the United States, but that if he does stand trial for his crimes, that the evidence is brought forward and his history is brought forward so that it can be utilized to tell the true story about who Abrego Garcia is. A known MS-13 member, friend, hangs out with them consistently and did before he was incarcerated, detained by ICE. And then also, you know, in several interactions with former law enforcement officers, immigration officers, and people who saw him smuggling individuals, and not to mention the court proceedings and the testimonies from his wife of the dangerous, aggressive, and assaults that he perpetuated against her as well.
Which brings me right back from the beginning, not even to the deportation question, but why, you know, why was he released from Tennessee if he's got such a serious crime as smuggling? And he apparently that was sort of, you know, that's been dragging out for a while. And if he's got, I heard that tape, or that, I can't remember what it was, with the wife beating thing. She, of course, recanted, but you oftentimes see that in domestic abuse cases, suddenly one of the spouses, usually a woman, changes their mind. But he doesn't seem like a particularly, he doesn't have a particularly safe record, you know, with a serious crime. So it seems to me that he should have been held in Tennessee and let that play out, and then determine a deportation at that point.
Yeah, well, Greta, you know better than anybody what we face with some of these judges across the country, and that they're activists and they are willing to make decisions that put the American people at risk. So the fact that he was released was not a surprise to us based on what we thought could potentially happen. But the fact that he showed up for his hearing today means that we have an opportunity as well to continue to go after him and keep him off of our streets.
Any idea when his immigration trial is, his lawyer wants? Does he have a date?
I don't think there's been a date officially announced yet, but we're hoping it's sooner rather than later so that we can get a resolution to this. Remember, this is no Maryland father, no Maryland man. This is not the average typical person that the Democrats and elected officials have said and tried to portray that he is. He is a terrorist. He is a wife beater. He is someone who has trafficked individuals and even solicited minors for nude pictures and for you know, pornography. He's a horrible individual who needs to be held accountable for his crimes.
Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, thank you.
Yep, thank you, Greta. Have a good night.
People think news just happens. It doesn't. It happens because there's someone there to capture the moment, to explain it and share it. That's my job. I go where news breaks and give you the facts. Join me for The Record on Newsmax.